Hello viewers, thank you very much for watching Gibbs TV. Today's video will be looking at how to distinguish between validity and reliability. Let's get into it. Reliability and validity are closely related, but the two concepts are different in research. It is important to underscore this fact. That is, a measurement can be reliable without being valid. If you look at this row, all right, the measurement is reliable but not valid. However, if a measurement is valid, then automatically it will be reliable. Look at this row. Once it is valid, then automatically it will be reliable. Let's look at the concept of validity. The concept of validity was propounded by Kelly in 1927, who stated that a test is valid if it measures what it claims to measure or what is intended to measure. Therefore, validity is about the accuracy of the measure. So in simple terms, validity refers to how well a research instrument or method measures what is intended or supposed to measure. An example of research measure could include survey question or instrument, interview guide or question or instrument, or any other data collection instrument. Okay, we can test for the validity. And there's various forms of methods that we use to assess validity. One way is by inspection, that is the phase validity. Does the test look as though it measures what is intended to measure, all right, from the face look of the instrument? Okay, is it measuring the concept? By inspection, it should be able to tell whether the instrument will be valid or not. Okay, so for example, if a survey design, okay, is there to exploit depression, but which end up actually measuring anxiety. You wanted to measure depression, but it end up measuring anxiety, then the instrument is not valid by inspection because the two concepts are different. Depression is different from anxiety. Then another method is concurrent validity. Here, results from the new test can be compared to the previously well-established test from the same instrument. Okay, we call it concurrent validity. Then we have the correlation techniques by inspection. For the case of correlation, we use it to test the construct validity. For the case of construct validity, it happens. For instance, strong correlation between the scores for the measured concept. For example, if you take the self-esteem as the main concept, then a strong correlation between the scores for the measure of the self-esteem concept and its associated trait will indicate high construct validity. So once there's a strong correlation between the self-esteem as the dependent variable and other related determinants, all right, then you will say that there is a high construct validity. The various types of validity, we have the construct validity that I mentioned, that is also defined as the adherence of measures to existing theory and knowledge of the concept being measured, all right? Then example for construct validity, let's take for self-esteem that we did look at. So a self-esteem questionnaire could be assessed by measuring other traits known or assumed to be related to the concept of self-esteem, such as social skills, body image, and optimism. So therefore, strong correlation between the scores of self-esteem and associated traits will indicate high construct validity. Another type is content validity. Okay, here, measure the extent to which the measurement covers all aspects of the concept being measured. All right. So, for example, a test that aims to measure a class of student level of French contains reading, writing, and speaking component, but no listening component. It means it is neglecting the component of listening. All right. Then expert agrees that listening comprehensive, okay, is an essential aspect of language ability. So the test lacks content validity because it doesn't cover all for measuring the overall level of ability in French. All right. Yes, but if you include all these components, then it may have content validity because it covers all in terms of the ability. The next is the criterion validity. Criterion validity measures the extent to which the results of a measure correspond to other valid measures of the same concept. For example, a survey is conducted to measure the political opinions of voters in a given state. If the results accurately predict the latter outcome of an election in that state, then this indicates that the survey has high criterion validity, and the reverse is also true. Take note of that. The other forms of validity as well are the internal and external validity. So for the internal validity, you measure whether the researcher measured what they intended to measure. Okay, that goes with the actual validity measurement. Internal validity is affected by extraneous factors or external factors. Therefore, changes in the dependent variable can be due to extraneous variables rather than the independent variable. So other factors that are likely to influence the dependent variable. Then the external validity also look at measurement that looks into the extent to which the results of the study can be generalized to other population, okay, or to others. All right, and sometimes known as the ecological validity. The also importance of validity to research. Let's look at it. Validity shows how a specific test is suitable for a particular situation. It helps to establish truthfulness of a measure. It also measures the degree to which all accumulated evidence support the intended interpretation of test scores for the intended purpose. Above all, the focus of validity is to check whether the given instrument or method has the potential to measure what the researcher wants to measure. It's very key. Take note of that. Now, let's look at reliability in research. Now that we know what validity is about, the various forms and how we can assess validity. Now, what is reliability? Reliability is about consistency of a measure. Consistency, underline that consistency. It is further referred to whether or not you get the same answer, that is consistency, by using an instrument to measure something more than once. Okay? So it measures what is called the consistency. In simple terms, research reliability is the degree to which research methods produces stable and consistent results. Above all, research reliability refers to whether research methods can reproduce the same results multiple times once the instrument is being used over and over again. That is, if your research methods can produce consistent results, then the methods are likely to be reliable and not influenced by external factors. But the most common statistical techniques for reliability tests has always been the Cronbach alpha. The Cronbach alpha is a measure of reliability or internal consistency of a set of items that form a scale or a survey. It ranges from 0 to 1, where higher values that is closer to 1 indicates higher reliability. And a common rule of thumb is that alpha should be at least 0.7 for a reliability scale. For it to be reliable, at least it must meet the scale of 0.7. All right, that is very good. So you can calculate Cronbach alpha using statistical software such as SPSS or any other social statistical packages that we use to run data analysis. You can find the Cronbach alpha techniques in SPSS as well. Note that in research, when the measurement is consistent, then it is reliable. Take note of that. Once it's consistent, then it is reliable. And as a rule of thumb, it must have the correlation value or the Cronbach alpha value of 0.7. Also note that reliability does not mean your outcome will be the same, but rather it just means it will be in the same range. For example, if you score 95% on a test for the first time and next score 2, you score 96, okay, your results are reliable. Why? Even if there is a minor difference in the outcome, it's just about, I think, 1% difference, that is minor. As long as it is within the same margin of error, then your results are reliable. So in this particular case, it is reliable. So in this case, reliability allows you to assess the degree of consistency in your results. We take, for example, a typical case for a medical thermometer. A medical thermometer is reliable to, that is highly recognized, that it will always produce, or maybe what do you call it, measures the correct temperature each time it is being used, okay? So anytime you want to find out the body temperature, we use thermometer, because it's a reliable instrument, it's a reliable tool, medical tool. All right. There are types of reliability as well. We have the test-retest reliability. So test-retest reliability is about the consistency of a measure across time. That is, you get the same results when you repeat the measurement. For example, a group of participants complete questionnaire designed to measure personality traits. So if they repeat the questionnaire days, weeks, or months apart and give the same answer, then this indicates high test-retest reliability. Another type is the inter-rated reliability. It's about the consistency of a measure across raters, observers. That is, do you get the same results when different people conduct the same measurement? For example, based on an assessment criteria checklist 5 examiners submit substantially different results for the same student project. This indicates that the assessment checklist has low inter-rater reliability. All right? The next type is the internal consistency. Internal consistency is about the consistency of the measurement itself. Do you get the same results from different parts of the test that are designed to measure the same thing? For example, you design a questionnaire or an instrument to measure self-esteem. So if you randomly split, okay, that is the half split method, that is internal consistency. So if you randomly split the results into 2 halves, there should be a strong correlation between the 2 sets of results. However, if the 2 results are very different, then this indicates low internal consistency. But, all right, if the 2 results are not different, they are very close, then there is an indication of very high internal consistency. In conclusion, it is very much appropriate to discuss reliability and validity in various sessions of your thesis or dissertation or your research paper or project by showing how you have taken them into account in planning your research process and interpreting the results. Also makes the works more credible and trustworthy. So in the case of literature review, you can be looking at what have other researchers done to devise and improve methods that are reliable and valid. In the method section 2, you can also work on how did you plan your research to ensure reliability and validity of the measures that you use. This indicates the chosen sample set and size, the sample preparation, the external condition, and measuring techniques as well. And for the case of the results too, okay, if you calculate reliability and validity, whether through Cromba alpha or face value, okay, or maybe by inspection from the correlation, you must test these values alongside your main results. Discussion. This is the moment to talk about how reliable and valid your results actually were. Were they consistent and did they reflect true values? If not, why? And in conclusion, if reliability and validity were a big problem for your findings, it might be helpful to mention this here. Thank you very much for subscribing to GIBS TV. I see you all in the next video.